Welcome back. Now that we've got all of our transitions done for our first video, time to create some titles. Step number one, I've got a list of titles for you that you can copy over to your thawed space. And so what you'll want to do is navigate over to Drive B. I'll get back to the beginning here. So here we are over on Drive B. And go to the current year, 2015-2016. Navigate to Video Production. Here's our Lava Beds Video 1 with all of our images. And then we have a new number 9 folder right there, Documents for You. Click that and you'll see Titles for Lava Video. So take those and copy those over to your thawed space, your video folder on Drive E. This would be a good time for you to pause the video and get that taken care of. Okay, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and get Premiere Pro opened up and get to your latest timeline. That should be the one with our transitions. Bring mine up here. Here we go, right there. So what we're going to do is create about 10, 11 titles to put on top of this video. Now, step number one, what we'll want to do is to go ahead and get another copy of our timeline. And so I want to show you another way to do that, a way to duplicate a sequence. So go on over to your sequence folder and find the current timeline that you're working on. Mine happens to be right there, and I had renamed this Lava Transitions, so you probably have something with your name and something similar to that. So that's the one that I want to duplicate. So it works just like this. Right click, lots of opportunities to do different things here, and we are looking for duplicate. I'll click that, and you'll see now that we have the same name except with the word copy after it. So I'm going to go ahead and rename that just by clicking on those letters. And I'm going to rename it Lava Titles. And then once that is renamed, you'll notice that it's not showing up here yet. So what you do is double click it. And there it is. So there's the transitions, there's the duplicate, now called Lava Titles. Now, these other ones here, if you don't want these on the timeline, you can simply close them. This little X here is closed. It is not delete. They'll still show up over here, but you can get them out of your way if you don't want them all lined up here. So, and I'll demonstrate how that happens. You just click close. And so it's still over here, but it's just not here on our main timeline for us to work with. So it's one of the nice features about Premiere Pro is that you can utilize multiple timelines within the same project. And I'm going to go ahead and close that one too. So I just have one sequence here to deal with. So if you need to, pause the video, take a minute, ask some questions, go ahead and get that taken care of, and then we'll be ready to move on and create some titles. Next step is that we need to create a new folder, if you don't have it already, called Titles. Let me delete that one. I'll just create a duplicate here. So step number one, I'm going to click down here in kind of this dead space here so that it does not insert a folder within a folder. Click on the New Bin button, and there it is, and we're going to call this, and if you want to put a number on it, let's see, I don't know, what is my number sequence so far here? I'll just go ahead and put an 8 underscore and keep the same and call it titles. We'll do that. And then make sure you're selected on that folder, because every time we create a title, it's going to put it right in that location. Now, if you haven't done so already, have your titles available so that you can bring them up just like that. So I have them minimized down here on my taskbar. I can just pop them up there and take a look at what my first title is going to be. Tule Lake High School, title number 1, Tule Lake High School. Okay, so let's go and create that. Here's how we do it. Use the same button that we used to create a sequence, the same button that we used to create black video. It is right here. The new item button. Click it, and we have some different options here. There's our black video, there's our sequences, and there is title. Select title, and new title window pops up asking us to give it a name, and this first title is Tule Lake High School. I will just abbreviate THS. Click OK, and notice over here it has inserted a title within our titles folder, keeping things nice and organized. Let's take a look at the title window environment. If you look right here, you'll see some gold numbers, you'll see a piece of film and an eye. Now, it's very important, this confuses people. This is the timeline, the location. It's showing that we are at 5 seconds and 12 frames on the timeline, which corresponds to this location right here with our CTI, the current time indicator. So as we move that, you notice that our CTI moves. And so what happens here in this title window is that it is simply revealing through the title what is on the timeline. So notice as I come through here, you see that first picture is going to show up. There's the transition, and there it is. So it's very critical to know and understand that this picture is not part of the title. It is simply there as a reference, as a guide, so that when you're putting titles over your video, that you can see exactly where you're placing them. Now you can turn that off just by clicking that eyeball. There it is, show background video. So we can click it, and that's actually the title. It's just a transparent document that we will be putting our text on top of. On, off, on, off. Generally, I leave that on. This is a reference. Just so you understand, that's not part of the title. That is just simply the background. Okay, let's create one simple title. And then in the next video, we'll look at some more details about how to modify that. Okay, the fundamentals. Text tool. There's our horizontal text. There's our vertical text. We're going to start with the standard horizontal. Click on the title and type Tule Lake High School. There we go. Once it's typed, we are going to head on over to this very familiar looking tool, Selection Tool. Recognize that from Photoshop. And just like in Photoshop, notice that we have our transform controls showing. So we can move this as an object, and we can resize it. And you'll recall if I hold the Shift key down and grab a corner, it'll maintain the same scale. Like so. Once again, the Shift key maintains the same scale. Now, if for some reason I'll just make a quick duplicate here. If you did not hold the Shift key down, then notice what it does. You can transform that thing just any way you want to. Stretch it horizontally, stretch it vertically, so on and so forth. Okay, so that's just like you did in Photoshop. Same thing. And notice as you're doing that, if you watch this zone over here, this is all of the different features of things that we can change about font. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot you can do. But you'll see those numbers changing over there. X and Y positions. Okay. We're not going to worry about too much of that right now. We just want to be able to create a title. Notice that it's saved over here. And then place that thing just right above center. And notice that our transform controls has a center point. So we can use that to help us line up with this inner fence or inner border, the title safe zone. And here is our horizontal center or vertical center here. And we'll put that right about there. And then once we click close, it's automatically going to save it. We don't have to do a special button to save it. And there it is right there. Now if we want to do more to it, we just double click it and it brings it right back up. And there it is. Tule Lake High School. Basic title. Without doing anything with this except changing maybe the font size. And so that's the fundamentals, is basic of creating a title. So in the next video, we'll take a look at some more details of what we can do to maybe make it a little fancier, add some different fonts, color, some of these different things we can talk about what some of these different items do to that. So we'll take care of that in the next video.